Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. We have a lot of XRP Ripple news to talk about today, and the CEO Brad Garlinghouse has actually spoken out. We have several different topics about that. And real quickly, I'm going to go through Bitcoin, but because there is so much news, I'm not going to spend much time on Bitcoin today. We can actually see that the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is sitting at 15. Still extreme fear. We're still pretty close to going to single digits. Bitcoin itself hanging about $60,000. And you can see within the last few hours, the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index had it at $311. We're actually up to 658. So just a tiny bit more. There's still more wiggle room though. On the high of the day, it hit about $60,900, pushing close to 61K, which is definitely refreshing. Do keep in mind that we are now in the weekend. So volume compared to say Friday is abysmal. We are way under what we've been seeing the last few days. But if you go back and you see the weekend prior, we're kind of on track to getting around the same amount of volume, right? So back on June 20th, here the next day, Sunday, it died down a tad bit. And then coming on Monday, it started to rise. The big thing that we need to keep an eye out for is what's going on with the United States and Iran. Tensions have been rising there. And apparently, the attacks from the United States side, those happened after the stock markets closed on Friday. So I'm not exactly sure how markets are going to react on Monday. We'll have to wait and see. But a lot of people are really on edge that Monday we might end up seeing some crashing take place. All right, so we do have a bit of resistance up here, the Fibonacci retracement zone at $63,100. As you can clearly see, Bitcoin dropped down, tested that, came down, broke through, pulled back, kind of has been hovering around that space, and is essentially just winding around it, right? A very consolidated zone ranging around $58,000 up to $67,350. Okay, so as I was mentioning, in regards to the United States and Iran, the U.S. Pentagon delayed publicly announcing U.S. strikes on Iran until after the U.S. stock market had closed at 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday, per NBC News. The timing of the announcement was reportedly intended to reduce the immediate impact on financial markets, and that's pretty wild. That's not something that should be really factored in when you're doing these kinds of things, but here we are. And up next for Ripple. Ripple is now capturing Swift liquidity. Swift says 34 out of 50 banks are ready to go live with Swift payments by the end of June. Guess what? Exactly 32 out of 50 of these Swift banks are also partnered with Ripple. Ripple Treasury recently connected into Swift's 11,500 banking rails as a certified partner. JP Morgan also connected the XRP ledger to interbank settlement with Ripple. Brad said that Ripple would capture 14% of Swift's liquidity by 2030. It's going to be way before 2030. I would love to see 14% of Swift's liquidity in the future. At any point in time, that would be amazing. But, we're talking quite a bit of a percentage of Swift's liquidity here, and that could have a substantial impact still. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse on CNBC. Financial engineering does not drive long-term value. Long-term value of any digital asset is going to be driven by utility. He pointed to Strategy's STRC trading 25% below par as a damning indictment of a model built on financial engineering rather than fundamentals. Notably, Garlinghouse added he remains bullish on Bitcoin. The message is clear: utility wins, the exact thesis the XRP ledger was built on. Brad Garlinghouse just told CNBC that long-term value of any digital asset is driven by utility, not financial engineering. XRP's ODL volume hit $1.2 billion in the first quarter of 2026, up 45% year over year. That's not hype, that's product market fit. And then Bank XRP asks, the institution knows, do you? $16 trillion in volume, nearly 0% on chain. And Brad Garlinghouse laid out exactly why the XRP opportunity hasn't even started yet. The window to position before trillions move on chain is still open. XRP ETF total AUM just crossed $1 billion. 938 million XRP locked in vaults. That's nearly 1% of total supply absorbed. Bitwise alone doing $12.6 million in volume today. They're not dipping their toes anymore. They're diving in. Gold had a 5,000-year head start, and XRP just made it obsolete. Same scarcity, same store of value, but gold just sits in a vault. XRP settles value anywhere on Earth in 3 seconds for a fraction of a cent. Digital gold that actually moves. XRP risk-adjusted trend regime indicator just flashed something worth watching. The sharp Z score spiked deep negative in early 2026, the same kind of extreme reading that preceded both the November 2024 breakout and the July 2025 rally. Price is currently sitting near around $1.03, well below the 200 MA, the moving average, while momentum remains suppressed. Every prior time this indicator hit these levels, risk-adjusted returns recovered sharply within weeks. And Kalshi just went live with regulated perp futures in the US. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, HYPE, all under CFTC approval. Order book trading up to 6x leverage on Bitcoin. This is what legitimate crypto infrastructure looks like. And from Crypto Rover saying that the Clarity Act to be approved, pro-Bitcoin Fed chair, the next bull market will be wild. What do you guys think about this? Bitcoin bleeding $444 million. Ethereum down $12 million. XRP, that's actually up $15.63 million inflow today. And then up $60.61 million this month. $1.48 billion cumulative and still climbing. The disruptor does not follow the crowd, it leads it. A $2 billion brokerage just plugged Ripple payments into their backend. Caleb and Brown ditched correspondent banking for USD withdrawals, now settling on Ripple infrastructure. The rails are being built whether you're watching or not. Ripple's National Trust Bank is expected to reach the final stage of the OCC approval process in the third quarter of 2026. If that approval goes through, Ripple could be positioned to serve institutions across the entire U.S. banking system, a market tied to more than $30 trillion. Avalanche, XRP Ledger, and Stellar lead stablecoin growth among major networks. 3 major blockchains in particular have seen growth in their stablecoin ecosystems, while nearly all other blue-chip blockchains flounder. Ripple's XRP Ledger leads with nearly 9% positive growth in the past week, its stablecoin supply reaching $851 million. However, AVAX and Stella McCartney, or XLM, have also seen momentum. Their stablecoin market caps up 3.33% and 1.05% on the week, respectively. And Crypto DYL News, they are responding to what Bull Street said. Bull Street said, "We are proud to announce our integration of the XRP Ledger for cross-border payments." Bull Street has chosen XRP to be our primary choice for payments. So they said, wow, this is huge. Wow. And you guys can see almost 1,000 likes on this post just reacting to the news. This is incredibly bullish, right? Now, Smoke says SBI Japan, XRP, and XDC. You've got SBI Group has established an ecosystem that can generate synergies through a group of companies with various supporting functions centered on the crypto asset exchange, one of which includes Ripple here, offering services using XRP and the XRP Ledger. Tribal nations are pushing back on the Clarity Act. United South and Eastern tribes write to Senate leaders Thune and Schumer, say H.R. 3633 is an existential threat to tribal gaming revenue and sovereign rights. The bill has more opposition than people realize, so not great to hear that there's more people that are coming out and being against the Clarity Act. That might throw a wrench into things a tad. We'll have to wait and see. And then we have almost $14.7 million in XRP. Just moved from Kraken, the exchange, to the AllHeart wallet. Same wallet that accumulated heavily before, and they're back for more. Whale behavior does not like XRP. Ripple payments officially set for full Europe rollout just days before July 1st MiCA deadline. Europe is going all in XRP. XRP open interest just hit its lowest point since the July 2025 run started. The peak open interest, 1.3 billion across exchanges. Today, under 150 million. Price went from $3.20 positive down to $1.03. And leverage got completely flushed out. No crowded longs, no over-leveraged traders, just a clean slate. And whale alert, fresh wallet, 630,000 USDC dumped into Hyperliquid, 2.9 million XRP shorted at 10x leverage, already down $15,824. Wrong side of the trade, friend. After kicking the can since the fourth quarter last year, Volatility Shares is going live with their 2x XRP, 2x Solana, 2x Bitcoin, and 2x Ethereum. Incredible the timing. Multiple filings today. Next week has some teeth. Leverage play. Issuers like to launch leverage into upside. They also receive more scrutiny from the SEC. They've waited patiently. Now is the time, almost like they knew what was coming. And XRP ETF records $15.63 million inflow. Bitcoin shed $444 million. Ethereum bled $12.85 million. And then we crossed $1.48 billion ETFs for XRP, as I mentioned. Analysts are now looking at around $10 as the next major target for XRP. Let's be real. Let's see if it even gets back to $2. After that, maybe we can break towards 5. You know, we want to get to 3. Can it get to 5? After that, doubling to 10. That'd be great. But we'll have to wait and see. And XRP is positive on the day, up 2.43%. Looking quite good while I'm recording the video. It's actually up near the top of that wick. Possibly we can reclaim everything that we had lost yesterday when this daily candle closes. Currently, we are sitting above, or what I should say was on June 25th. That was Thursday. So if we can continue this pattern, we break above, stay there, close out on the day, and the next major push is trying to reclaim what we had lost on June 24th. That would push us all the way back up to around $1.11. Being above $1.10 gives us a little bit more of a safety net. So we'll have to wait and see how things play out. Volume quite low, like I mentioned. We're on the weekend. And that's what I got, guys. Okay, I appreciate you so much. Everyone have a great day. Stay safe. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and my YouTube members. God bless. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.